And to my knowledge, they remain in the budget. But lots of other individual local projects were cut, and I think public broadcasting was completely thrown out. So,
boy, I tell you.
Yes.
You know, what I found over the years is just like when there's a need for money, they're hurting for money, they go to what they consider, legislators, our elected officials, they go to the areas that they feel are the ones that they can do without. And of course, when it comes to budgets, a lot of times it's arts and music and you know, like PE as well, which I don't put necessarily on the same level as the arts and music, but they'll go to those areas and start to whittle away as though they aren't important, but actually they really and truly are, aren't they?
Yeah, they are, and you look at in education, the Arts for a Complete Education project is really about promoting that well-rounded education, that well-rounded child, and also to instill what businesses are looking for in the future generation of employees. I don't know if you were watching CNN this morning. I watched CNN this morning, and they said, what are the top corporations looking for in business? They're looking for people that can communicate, reading and writing skills, oral communication skills. They're looking for technology, and proficiency in technology. But the other thing they said, right up there, was creativity. And so it is really essential for us to make sure that that is in our schools, because these, whether or not they go on to be the next rock star or composer or what have you, or painter, those experiences instill that innovation, that creative thinking in that child that they will use in whatever they go on to be, and that's the innovation that makes our businesses great in this country. So I think your point is well taken. It's not valued, the arts are not valued enough in education, nor in the in terms of a part of the solution for the economic picture of our state.
And I agree, and I've talked on this program about the loss of creativity on the part of our youth, on the part of many adults, and it starts with them when they're young.
Right.
You know, and this is one of the reasons, in truth, why in this country there's some things that we invent, but there's a heck of a lot more that is many times invented somewhere else, or by people that come from somewhere else, or they take, of course, what we come up with, and they, based on not only their knowledge but their guts or whatever, they're able to actually take some idea and then expand it into a point and a level whereby we want to then end up buying and purchasing from all of them, as opposed to being able to get something from us locally. So creativity is very, very, very important, and that's where your ideation comes from. That's where so much of what we need, you know, and getting the imagination of the children going as well. And it, you know, it allows them to have hope. You know, it really is a good foundation for hope, because if you can dream it, what is that they say? If you can dream it, you can whatever.
You can dream it.
Yes,
you can
right.
Beat it. Yeah, it's like if you can read a script and act out that script, you begin to imagine that I can create the own script for my life. I can write my future. So there's lots of intrinsic values, real concrete values that the arts provide to young minds that we can't even quantify, and one of which is empathy. Empathy skills. When you learn about human stories and learn about history through the arts, or your senses are touched, you've developed empathy skills. And that will translate into how you treat each other, and how you respect each other, how you respect yourself. And so that's one of those areas that it's very, very hard to measure what the arts really can do for everyone. It's about our humanity.
And I don't know that studies have been done in regards to this, but I would think that, you know, because we have a high dropout rate.
Correct.
We have children who are feeling trapped, like there's no way out, there's nothing else that they can do, like, you know, in terms of they really feel themselves boxed in. And I'm sure that to the extent that we've started to eliminate more and more of these types of activities, we've probably set some things in place whereby you have more of those types of problems. And you know, there are people who will say, oh, you can't show that to me, you can't prove it. I'm sure there is a way to prove that. But it's got to be seen as, in terms of the arts, in terms of art, music, and the like. Those are things that, when you think back to hundreds of years ago, those were the things that actually helped society. I mean, they're an integral part of making our society more civilized.
Absolutely, absolutely. And there is some studies out there. Actually, there's one in Florida that's been done that correlates numbers of hours that students participate in the arts and comparing it to those that have dropped out and those that haven't. So, but there needs to be more in-depth studies. So that's really an area that we need to explore further.
Yeah, because I would think that is the case as well.
Right.
Now, you had gotten an email that had to do with the veto of line items by the governor, and of course the three items that Senator Evelyn Lynn had worked to put into the budget. Those three things have been vetoed by him, right?
I believe they have, and I just glanced. I was visiting with a former Representative Pat Patterson today, and he said that that specific projects had been vetoed. So I didn't see too many specific arts projects that have been vetoed. Maybe they just didn't get through. So it's interesting to see where the governor's wanting to invest those funds. So,
but we've talked a little bit about the impact and on children per se and their development, and in terms of the economy, and we'll do more of that. Right. But in terms of education, since part of what the legislature ended up doing really was reducing the funding in education. It's amazing how they look at those reductions and they say to us, but no, we didn't reduce it. You have more education funding than you had the year before that, or whatever. Right. Which is, I just find interesting when, if you cut it, that means that something was cut. No matter how you try to, have us re-envision the bottom line, the bottom line is still going to be that there were cuts per student cuts, in line with, the various counties, and we're all having to deal with that. Volusia County is saying that they weren't cut as badly as they expected, but they do have to accommodate some millions of dollars in terms of funding cuts as well. Are you seeing around the county any, and since you represent with the Alliance, the state, how are they reacting in terms of the cuts? Are you seeing the arts being cut?
Well, actually, there's been some cuts in Orange County last year, and because now we're just knowing what we're dealing with for this year, each local district is going to have to make some decisions and look at how are they going to deal with this. And unfortunately, the arts are one of those target areas that's not tested. See, this is the thing, because you're not testing it in a standardized test, and it's non-quantifiable in many cases, how the arts actually help in learning in other areas. The Alliance has been doing statewide trainings, regional outreach on arts integration, like how do you teach math with music? How do you teach reading, with visual arts and theater? And these are very effective ways in engaging students through the arts to learn not only that art form, but also to learn other subject areas. So we have a lot of work to do as an Alliance. And ultimately, it will be local decision-making, county by county, and in many cases, school by school, as to how much priority or how much resources go to the arts. But I will tell you that in Volusia County, we have a long history of supporting the arts, and that's much due to many early people. Tippin Davidson, Dorothy Johnson, and then the current leadership at our school board level and our superintendent. They know the value and they get it. So they're not going to amputate the arts as a single target area. They're really, I feel confident that our county is going to look at across the board cuts, and all areas are going to suffer with the limited budget, I feel.
Well, that's good, because from what we were talking about before, because their desire is to reduce the dropout rate. And with some of the children in schools, you have to have a way of grabbing them and getting them in, and to really tie some of their interest into the education, other subjects, and many times it's the arts that will do that.
Well, yeah, and sometimes that might be the one reason they do come to school, and I also believe in transference of excellence. Like, say if you excel in one area, then you start to look at